story. This week we shall be looking at the real estate sector, because as you know, the problems of the home buyers are many. The builders are not delivering, or if they are, they're delivering flats that are half-baked and not completed. We do have a real estate bill in play, but how effective is that? That is something we shall be taking a look at in this week's show. For that, with me, I have a panel of experts. We have Mr. Bejon Misra, he's a consumer policy expert. We have Mr. Amir Pasrich, he's managing partner at Pasrich and Company. He's also a commercial lawyer. There is Mr. N.K. Sarin, he's a senior advocate and he's representing the Home Buyers Association. Mr. Misra, I'll begin with you. Is there any hope for the home buyers at the end of the day? Will we ever get our flats?
Yeah, you see, there is a lot of hope, of course. Now the subject has come into the forefront, in the focus, and thanks to media for bringing it. I feel that very soon, things will change drastically, and hopefully that certain court orders would compel the providers, like the builders and the developers, to ensure that they deliver on time, they give standard products, they are made accountable and things like that.
I'll go to Sarin sir first. Sarin, do you share his optimism?
Actually, you see, theoretically, whatever he says is correct. But you have to understand the background. The home buyers community is one of the biggest section. Even, they are more bigger than the Joggi Jompadi people. The poor boys, they have invested whole life saving their past and future, and they don't have money. They don't have money to fight the cases. They don't have time to go for the cases. They can't spend a lot of time on all these things, and there is no law. RERA, we worked for RERA for 2 years. We staged a lot of protests all over India, especially in NCR, Jantar Mantar. RERA is there, but what is the use? It's just ineffective. No state government is ready to accept it. You forget the opposition, even the BJP state governments, they are not interested in applying RERA. So what we can expect from this real estate regulator? What can we hope? That's the real question. And now on other side, if you see the problem, the home buyers problems have exaggerated. There is no way, there is no solution is in short term. And the biggest problem, suppose we are fighting against the builder. You know what will happen? He will go bankrupt. And we are afraid to even hurt the builder, because finally builder is not going to get hurt. It's we who will hurt.
So you are saying if we ask the builder for money and he goes bankrupt, at the end of the day it hurts us, because then he won't have money for our project.
Yeah, it's only, you see, if we file a case, like I tell you, I have in my circle, I think around 60 to 80,000 home buyers are in our circle, and about 50 different project people are connected with us. But you see, I always tell them, boss, whatever you want to do, do it, but don't break the builder. Because finally, what will happen? We will lose our both eyes and we may blind him from one eye. That's the reality.
I mean, that's very, there's really no way out. We can't attack
there
the
is
builder
no
who's
way
hurting
out
us.
because of things that don't have anything to do with the builders. There are bigger issues here, and I hate to be philosophical and take you away from your hard-nosed black and white, black letter law and the courts, but you don't have a country that has enough land. That's one problem. We don't have resources like water, sewage, and we also don't have a system of garbage disposal. So it's all very well to say, bring in the builders, make them accountable, and they made a lot of money while the going was good. But the builders made money up to about 2006-07. Look at the prices. They've been stable, stagnant since about 2008 to 16 now. The prices haven't gone crazy. Neither have the share prices of those builder companies. If you look at them on the stock market, their share prices have been falling over these many years. So the builders now, not exactly the bad guy as Mr. Sarin rightly makes him out. He also has a limited ability. And I spoke with some builders last night to see, what do you think of this act? And the answer about the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act is, we're going to stay away from it. We'll stop building. And that's scary. Why would you stop building? Because the cost of building, according to this act, complying with it, is, according to 3 times what it would cost in the earlier days. So then there was something wrong, because you were building at 100 rupees where you should have been spending 200, and you were making too much money. Possibly true. But can they sustain this act and this kind of regulation and going forth in the future? The answer was straight out, we are not going to be building new projects under this act because we're really quite afraid of it. As long as the state governments don't pick it up, as long as the state governments don't impose it, they might get away with some projects, but they're worried. And there's this tension that is in the air about what's going to happen because it's not financially viable. There's one more long point I have to make. I'll try and make it in 30 seconds. I'll try and be really fast. The thought is, this is all very well, real estate regulation and development. What has fallen through the cracks is the unregulated sector.
Okay. But back to the bill and the builders, today if we've all know someone or each of us has invested in a house that we were promised in 2007, then we were given letters saying 2011, 2016, still no sign of delivery. So what does such a person do? What is his recourse?
You see, we must agree that we have a very strong judiciary in our country.
All right.
And you have been seeing lately that how active they are, whether it's Supreme Court or High Court, they are giving extremely good, kind of orders, directions to the government, to all the actors who are in the delivery system, whether it's public or private. Consumers must understand that in order to access any product or service, they have to do due diligence in terms of the provider. You have to check their background, you have to see how the project has been laid out. Let me tell you, as a consumer myself, I have never bought a building, an apartment where I couldn't move by paying. I always made sure that I can touch and feel a product before I buy it. I don't get away by dreamy, slogans and advertisements.
And fancy
and
brochures.
fancy endorsements by fancy people. You see, I look at the tangibility of that product. I never go with assurances, and so I always tell the consumer that what made you buy which you couldn't see?
Sarin sir, I want to bring you in because you formed an association. Your advice, you and I had a conversation earlier. I remember you were telling me is don't, instead of working as an individual, it's better that the home buyers get together of a certain building apartment and form an association and then look at the various options together. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, actually before that, if you give me few seconds, I would like to go into background. You see this real estate mess, it's nothing, it's not a mess, it's just a scam.
Yeah.
The scam, the parties are, how many? First party is the authority, development authority. Second is builder. Third is property dealer and those brokers. And fourth, biggest part, who is the player? Banks. You see what happened, development authority purchased land at rupees, some 400, 500, 600 rupees square meter. They caught hold some of the builder, some greedy people. I tell you, builders are generally, they are greedy people. So the people who were trying to make money in the short run, they caught some of them. They told them, oh boss, we have this land. Would you like to take it? They told, yes sir, we want this land. The land was sold, 500 yard land was sold at 5,000 rupees. The builder purchased 5,000 rupees, he caught some brokers. He told them, okay, this is the land and this is the beautiful brochure. On the brochure they have shown the photographs of some Italy or Spain or US flats, apartments. And the nice brochures were printed and distributed. And then, where is the money? Then banks came into picture, they thought, okay, Beti mein haath hum bhi dhole. So they came into the picture and they offered, we will give you subvention plan, we will give you this loan, you don't have to give any security, you don't have to pay us anything, everything is easy, project is approved, we have checked, we have done due diligence. And shocking fact I tell you, I investigated and I inquired. Many of the projects where bank had given loans in 2011, 2009, the map, the layout plan, they were approved in 2014 or 2015. And in 2009, bank had declared that yes, we have checked all the documents and the project is very sound, project is viable, all the clearances have been taken, obtained, and the loans were given. So now we come to the main point. So these are the four parties,
right.
And then there is another party. Again,
I need to ask him a quick question there. Yeah. When you say the loan was given, you saw the due diligence, was it well done?
That's not our job. That's bank's.
But
bank's
do you think they do a
responsibility.
due diligence properly?
No,
or
they
don't?
didn't did it.
Thank you.
That's the major question.
That's the other question.
Because you see, how can they do due diligence
That is
when
why
the
the
map
law
was
was
not
necessary.
even
Yeah.
approved?
They
The
don't
layout
even do
plan
the
was
due
not
diligence.
approved.
But they
The
claim they've done
banks.
it. Huh.
No, the bank's not doing a due diligence. They go and approve the project for the sake of releasing money.
Just making money.
And your agreements are horrible against the buyer, the flat owner, because allotee, as he's now called under the Act. The effect on the allotee is that when he tries to buy that flat and something goes wrong, he has an unconditional obligation to pay. They'll go and attach his salary, you know. They'll go to his place of work and say, no, if your relationship with the builder is not my business, I'm going to attach your salary, so I'll
From
take
my loan.
Yeah, because the loan has to be paid unconditionally. So the smaller the loan, the worse it is. The bigger the shark, the more he gets away.
But Amir, why should the banks do the due diligence? How do they come into the picture?
See, it's bank's job to approve the loan, to see the documents.
But why should I let the bank do the due diligence? Shouldn't I do it or the builder? Well, not the builder. Shouldn't.
You see, builders are catching the banks. They are telling, sir, we are launching this project having 2,000 flats, and we want to give all our business to 3 banks, and you are one of the us, and
I see,
please
I
you
see.
check our documents. You see, legally.
Okay.
On other side, it's bank's job to verify the documents and appraise the project before giving the loan. But what happened in between, I should not say, or I can't say here on this TV channel, but everybody understands in India how things are managed, how things are getting managed, how million or lakhs of crores rupees bad debts are there. So forget all that point. But you
Okay, now what does the home buyer do?
now only the problem is, I told you in the initial thing that home buyers can't be expected to run around. They don't have time. If you go to civil court, you have to fight maybe another 10, 15, 20 years. So
need to
only
stop
They have to get organized.
No,
you
but
see.
you keep thinking that the answer's in the courts.
Okay, that's
You know,
interesting.
this
That's
is
not.
a big problem with the media also, because everybody thinks if you have a problem in India, you go running to the courts, and the judiciary is so active and they're so wonderful. But what is wrong with the consumer, with the flat owner, with the buyer, with the system, to make sure that you don't need to go to court? But why is the buyer running from pillar to post? One of the biggest reasons is that he pays black money. So when he pays black money, he's already at a disadvantage. The moment he's parted with his,
No, he doesn't pay black money intentionally or willingly. You see. Now the
he's
the
forced
point
to do
is
so.
there are a number of developers in our country who take all the money in white.
Yeah,
there are a number
you
of
take up
developers.
90% upfront, so the-
yeah, so it's not that black money issue. You see,
even
the
if it's
issue
10%, if you lose 10%,
It hurts, yes.
Yeah, it hurts.
See, what I want to quickly tell you all is that, see, the most important issue is you have to get organized in a manner that it is very professionally led. See, most of the time I have seen the consumers are themselves fragmented.
Correct.
They're not together.
Housing is the oldest business.
But it didn't have a regulation. That's what I'm saying.
What about the regulation, Amir? You read the bill.
Yeah, I've read the act. It's now an act.
It's an act,
So
sorry, it's an
it
act.
was
But
passed
we are
very
told that
recently.
unless the state governments adopt it, it cannot be.
No, but they have to. It
enforced.
says within 6 months they shall, not they may.
He is not hopeful of them
I know.
adopting it at all.
And then what they do is that they don't follow the law even after that, and then somebody will.
No, actually, you see, I'll tell you the history of the Consumer Protection Act. None of the states implemented it. It got enacted in December of 1986. You see, 1987, Bihar was the first state which enacted.
Imagine that.
That because we were in Bihar and we consumer groups pressurized the government at that point of time and they heard us. But what I'm saying that we made evidences before the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court. They gave a directive to all the state governments, and in the next 5 years, it took 5 years, you know, for us to see that the act got implemented in all the states.
Okay.
So we are waiting that after the lessons we have learned in this law, which is coming into force now, we will not take 5 years. It will take maximum 6 months to go before the judiciary to our Honorable Supreme Court to get a
Get them.
direction to all the state governments, give them a nice kind of a strincher, get them to file an affidavit to ensure
Back to
that
the
it gets.
judiciary.
So,
Okay, now we are out of time, so I'm going to ask you one question quickly, all of you. People who booked their flats in 2006, 2007, when can they see their flats, given all the factors in play? I'll begin with you.
you see, the way it is going, I think in the next 12 months it should get resolved. The whole issue should get resolved.
That's very optimistic. I mean,
I'm not so optimistic because the actual enforcement of the act for pending projects, though it is there, is not going to happen overnight. I think that even if Bejon Sahab says the courts will force the state governments to adopt it, it won't be 6 months. It will take them at least a year and a half before directions are issued. After that, then you will have the law, then the regulation. Then you will have the disputes that arise under that. So resolving it, thanks to this act, maybe 2 to 3 years away. I mean, for the 2007 people. But yeah, there's a new danda that people can use.
Which is?
The act. You can use it,
Yeah,
and there are new penalties, and there is strictures that make. Incidentally, I mean, one of the builders was very afraid that he'd be going to jail tomorrow morning under the act, but it's not. It prescribes big fines when things go wrong, and then after the fines, it prescribes that if you don't obey the regulatory authority, then there's imprisonment prescribed. So it's not a draconian act. It's not a very bad act, but to my mind, it is unrealistic for the smaller sector, which is not regulated, the small builders.
This act can't get us houses.
It can't get us houses.
No. There is no way this act can help even a single buyer to get their house. The builders are totally out of money, and whether you send them to jail or wherever, you can't get the houses. The only way out is the state government and central government has to come up. They have to secure the projects. They have to check the projects, and they have to help the builders. Whatever revenue they have earned in a service tax, in a stamp duty, or they are going to earn from us, they must, government must put that money back into the projects to save the home buyers. Otherwise, the builders have already, they are standing, they are saying we don't have money, bank is not lending us, there is no market, so we can't construct it, we can't build it. And that's the real scenario. This act can't produce the money, this act can't give the money to the builders, and nobody can get any benefit. Only benefit you can get is create some pressure and send the builder to 3-year jail, and he will enjoy 3-year jail like one of the CMD of Sahara is in jail having air conditioned room, and these builders will also enjoy 3-year holiday and lakhs of buyers. You know how many buyers in NCR? In NCR itself 6 lakh home buyers are waiting for houses. In all over India the figure is 1 million, and total money if you calculate it's over 4 lakh crore rupees stuck in these projects.
On that note, I'm going to take a short break. After that, we're going to be taking a look at the options. We're going to see the takeaways from this debate and the options for the home buyers. So stay with us.
सिर्फ घर बनाते हैं, आप उसमें खुशियां बसाते हैं.
Some people like big houses.
Some people like cute small houses.
Supertech, yours for life. अपना घर. Amrapali Group.
Unitech has something for everybody.
सबसे पहली बात तो यह है कि ये प्रोजेक्ट खत्म ही नहीं होने को
28 लाख रुपए का ब्याज 1000 रुपए पर डे के हिसाब से होता है, जो हम 3.5 साल से पे कर रहे हैं.
हमने पुलिस, कानून इन सब को ट्राई करके कोशिश कर ली, किसी ने हमारी मदद नहीं करी.
What then are the options for the distressed home buyer who has sunk all his or her savings into a home that is nowhere near delivery? Did you know that the problem is most acute in the NCR region of Noida and Gurgaon, where there are as many as 6 lakh distressed home buyers? What then are their options? The legal option seems to be the best way of exerting pressure on the builder. For having insisted on as much as 70 to 90% installments upfront, the builder seems to hold all the cards. In such a scenario, the legal option seems the best way forward. There are 2 avenues here, the civil option or the consumer court option. The civil option can be cumbersome and expensive, as one has to first approach the district courts, then the High Court, which for the NCR could be in faraway I.L.A, for Noida, which is in Uttar Pradesh, or Chandigarh for Gurgaon, which is in Haryana. And finally, the builder can go to the Supreme Court for appeal. The Consumer Court. This too is at the district, state and national levels. But if the buyers form an association and file a class action suit, then they can go directly at the national level to the NCDRC. This option is not open if you're filing at an individual level. Also, filing a class action suit in the Consumer Court has some advantages. The fees work out to Rs 15 to 20,000 per year for each member. Also, not everyone has to attend each court date. Moreover, the NCDRC tends to dispose cases faster.
Unless you people organize, you can't do anything. Nobody will listen to your voice unless you have organized, you create a legal entity. You can go to Consumer Court only as a legal entity. As an individual, you have to go to district court, then state forum, then national forum, and then Supreme Court. And single home buyer is not having that much capacity or time to fight the case.
Another advice is that while filing the suits, instead of asking for complete refunds, which the court seems inclined to award to the home buyer, but the builders then tend to appeal and resist, for they claim that since the market is down, they are short of funds. So one option could be to insist on the handovers of the incomplete flats at discounted rates and then complete the work yourself. But a word of caution, do check that the paperwork is intact and that the builder has registered your flat with the requisite authority by paying its dues. Last year, the government passed the Real Estate Regulatory Act, which does favor the hapless home buyer in some aspects, such as in charging higher penalties from the builder for delayed projects, setting up of a real estate regulator, and making it difficult for the builder to change layout plans once the money has been paid. But there is a catch here. For the Act to become applicable, it has to be adopted by the state governments of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh respectively. Are the two chief ministers, Akhilesh Yadav and Manohar Lal Khattar, listening? It would appear not. The onus then is on us, the home buyers, to exert some pressure and make sure that they at least adopt this act so the home buyers can take some action.